Take a seat, and I want to talk to you about a YouTube channel called Dad, How Do I? ? The brain trust behind this YouTube channel is a guy named Rob Kenny. In an interview I read about him, he said that he had a rough childhood, and there were a lot of things that he just didn't learn, or he had to learn from other sources that he thought a dad or a parent would have taught him. So he grew up, had a family, kids, a regular job, and he started this YouTube channel for kids who grew up like he did. So he has things on there like videos on how to tie a tie, or video on how to fix a running toilet, how to check the air pressure in your car tires, things like that. And it made me think that there are a lot of things that we don't learn from the source we think we should learn them from. But there are lots of lessons out there, and there are lots of teachers who are willing to teach us, to show us, to guide us. And in our yoga practice, we are always using our breath, our body, our minds, and our hearts as our teachers, as our guides on the mat. In this situation, I am technically your yoga teacher, and I am going to lead you through a series of poses that I've put together in a special sequence for a reason. They make sense for the body. But especially in this Zoom format, it's important that you look to maybe some other source besides me and my voice. You look to yourself, breath, body, mind, heart, to help guide you, to help teach you as you go through the practice today. I feel like this year so far, there are lots of lessons that we're all learning or relearning. In my case, I'm really having to relearn how to practice non-judgment. I have to admit that I have gotten pretty judgy about how people behave or they don't behave, but I'm looking for a guide to help me relearn this lesson of being non-judgmental. So the guides are out there, the lessons are out there for us. We just have to be open and listen to them. Today, I'm asking you to really be open to body, mind, heart, and your breath as we go through the practice today. Make your seat comfortable, and then sit a little taller. Draw your shoulders back, close your eyes. This is where you begin tuning into your own YouTube channel. Maybe your body is telling you, back off the caffeine a little bit. Maybe your mind is telling you, give me just a little bit of space, a little bit of quiet, so I can process everything. Maybe your heart is telling you to physical distance, but not social distance, to reach out and connect. Bring your hands together in front of your heart and make a commitment to be open to where you might be able to learn, to unconventional sources, and also to the original sources that you have. Breath, body, mind, heart. On an exhale, bow your head towards your heart, sealing your commitment there to be open to learning today from whatever source you can. And then release your hands down to your legs. And on an inhale, sit a little taller, pull your shoulders back, lift up through the crown of your head, and then open your eyes. All right, yogi friends, if you want to play music, now's the time to tap or press play. I made a playlist for us. It's called Virtual Yoga 7/23. If you want to look for that, you can tap play on that. And then we will meet in a child's pose on our mats, spreading the knees wide, bringing the big toes together, and stretching the arms out in front. Let your head settle down, let your palms settle down. Let your hips reach towards your heels to the degree that it feels right for your ankles, your knees, your hips, and your low back. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it slowly seep out through your mouth. Two more of those on your own. Deep inhale through your nose. And then slowly let go through your mouth as you sink into the floor just a little bit more. One more. Make the inhale big and full, and the exhale slow and long. And then work your way up to hands and knees, eventually bringing your knees in so they're just hip width distance apart, and get your wrists right underneath your shoulders. We'll start to move into cat on an exhale, rounding the back, pulling the belly in and looking at the belly, and cow on an inhale, taking the tops of the thighs back, the shoulders forward, the gaze forward. Exhale, cat. And inhale, cow. A couple more, just warming up your spine and also getting used to a rhythmic breath and getting accustomed to moving with the breath. After your next cow pose, come into a neutral spine. Bring your right foot to the outside of your right hand. So I'm going to ask you to turn your core on here because what we're about to do involves a little bit of balance. You're going to be able to hold the balance better if you are strong into your core. So just tighten up into mainly your abdominal muscles. Take your left fingers behind your left ear and point your left elbow straight out to the side to begin. On an inhale, roll up. So point your left elbow up towards the ceiling, twist open. And on your exhale, twist down. Try to get your left elbow to touch your right inner wrist. Inhale, twist up. Exhale, twist down. One more time. Inhale, twist up. And exhale, twist down. And then come into neutral, lower your left hand back down to the mat, and then lift your right knee off the mat. See if you can lower your hips just a little bit while keeping that left leg as straight as you can. Look forward. Deep inhale through your nose. Full exhale through your mouth. And then lower your left knee back down. Take your right leg back, returning to all fours. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And then to neutral. Bring your left foot outside your left hand. Tone into your core here. And then bring your right fingertips behind your right ear, right elbow pointing out to the side for a starting point. On an inhale, twist up. Rolling your right shoulder back, pointing your right elbow towards the sky. On an exhale, twist down, go slow. Bring your elbow towards your inner wrist if you can. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, go down. One more time to twist up or to the open side. And then exhale, twist down. Come to neutral, and then place your right hand on the mat. Lift your right knee off the mat. Really get strong into that right leg, and then maybe you can drop the hips a little bit as you look forward. Big inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Lower your knee down. Step your left leg back, and we'll lift into downward facing dog from here. And then walk your dog out, bending one knee while the other heel sinks into the floor. Just back and forth a few times, stretching a little lower on the leg here. And then press both heels down towards the ground. Move your head around, circles, side to side motion. Just try to loosen into your neck a little bit here. And then inhale into plank. Exhale, lower, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. And then exhale, lower back down to your mat. We'll come into Sphinx pose, elbows underneath your shoulders. Palms down on the mat. Try to pull your upper shoulders, tops of your shoulders away from your ears. Lengthen through the crown of your head. And then on an exhale, draw your chin towards your chest. So keep trying to pull those shoulder blades down the back as you bring your chin towards your chest, stretching the back of the neck. You want to keep the chin on your chest or close to it as you take it side to side. Take your chin over towards your right shoulder to the center and then over to the left. We'll go back and forth a few more times. Really listen to what you're feeling here, the lessons that your upper back, your neck, the back of your neck are saying. Bring your head to neutral. Bring your hands down to the mat. Press back to downward facing dog. Walk your hands to the back of your mat. Stand and fold over your legs. Take a couple of breaths right here. Maybe letting your head bob around a little bit more here. Maybe holding on to your elbows. It's going to create a little bit more traction across the back body to lengthen it out with the hands off the ground. And then bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, rise up to stand. So you're standing at the back of your mat. I'm going to move around where you can see me a little bit better. Inhale, arms up overhead. Interlace your fingers, turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Take a slight back bend here, nothing intense. Just listen to what is stretching in your body, what feels good in this back bend. And then inhale, back up. Bring your palms together. I like to keep my index fingers pointing up. And then as you exhale, arc over to the right. Shift your weight into your left foot and lift the right foot out to the right. Right foot back down. Inhale, straight up overhead. Exhale, arc to the left. Shift your weight into your right foot and then lift your left leg out to the side. Lower your left foot back down. Inhale, right back up overhead. On your exhale, circle your arms back behind you. Interlace your fingers. And then exhale, forward bend. Bring your hands away from your back. And then release your hands down to the mat. Walk your hands forward, downward facing dog. In downward dog, big inhale through your nose, full exhale through your mouth. And then walk or step your feet to the top of your mat. Inhale, rise up, touch the fingertips overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, rise up, look up, listen. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, stretch forward halfway. Exhale, take your vinyasa, stepping back to downward dog or jumping into chaturanga. You can also step back to plank pose. When it's time for the back bend, take either your cobra or your upward dog, your choice, as you listen to breath, mind, body, and heart. From downward dog, inhale and lift your right leg high to the sky behind you. Turn on the muscles on the back of the leg to lift the leg up. And then exhale, lunge your foot to the top of your mat. We'll come up to warrior one. Root into your back foot, charge up the back leg, and then take the arms up overhead. Hook your thumbs together and bend your elbows out to the sides a little bit. So with the thumbs hooked together, you have the action of trying to pull them apart. And with the elbows bent, you've got the room to squeeze the muscles in the upper back. Think about lowering those shoulder blades down the back and pressing your head back. And then see if you can straighten your arms here. Maybe unhook the thumbs. And then exhale, circle your arms out wide and down behind you. Interlace your fingers. Humble warrior, use your exhale to fold inside your front leg. Hands coming away from your back. Here you need a little bit of core strength to help you maintain the balance. It's just a little bit of balance here in your humble warrior. Inhale, keep the hands interlaced, but bring your torso back upright. Lift your back heel up, warrior three. Hands stay interlaced as you come forward and balance on your right foot. And lift the left leg up to about hip height. Just feel where that is in space. And then if your shoulders are ready for it, stretch your knuckles up towards the ceiling. Hands still interlaced here. Keeping the chest open and the shoulder blades moving down the back. One more breath in here. On your exhale, warrior one. Gently step back. Take the arms up overhead and see if you can open the heart a little bit more here. Take a moment here to listen to what your body is telling you. And then exhale, hands down to the mat. One leg dog. Right leg is the one that lifts back behind you for a one leg vinyasa. You know you can take two leg vinyasa or no vinyasa. Your choice, your practice, your lessons to learn. From downward dog, we'll go right into the second side. Inhale, left leg back and up behind you. Lift it high. And then exhale, use mostly core and maybe just a little momentum to plant your foot at the front of your mat. Warrior one, back foot roots. Inhale, rise up. Hook your thumbs together, other thumb in front this time. Elbows are bent out to the sides to start. Have the action of pulling the thumbs apart while keeping the hook. Slide the shoulder blades down your back and then press your head back, press your arms back, and then straighten the arms out. Maybe unhook now, keeping that deep back bend of warrior one. And then exhale, circle your arms out and down, interlace opposite thumb on top than the one you usually have in the lacing. Exhale, humble warrior. Fold inside your leg, and then gently bring the hands away from your back. Let your head hang down here. If you want to move it around a little bit, you can to help loosen up your neck. Keep the hands interlaced. Inhale, lift back up overhead, or lift back up. Lift your back heel up, and now we go to warrior three variation. Hands stay on the low back to begin until you find your warrior three. Find your steadiness, and then maybe start to lift the knuckles up towards the ceiling. And then on an exhale, gently step back to warrior one. Take your arms up overhead, open up, deep back bend. Exhale, hands down to the mat. One leg dog, left leg lifts, one leg vinyasa, going down right now. All right, look up at the front of your mat and walk or step or hop your feet up to the top. Standing forward bend, fold over. And then inhale, rise. Palms touch above your head, and then exhale, hands to your heart. Katasana, chair pose, will begin our second series here. Hips back, fingertips up. See if you can remember the lesson you learned in that Warrior One, finding that back bend, to use the upper back, pressing the head back to give you a back bend in chair pose. And then exhale, forward bend, straighten the legs, fold over them. Inhale, lengthen out halfway. Meet me in downward dog, vinyasa to get there, or just step on back and breathe. Okay, from downward dog, inhale, right leg, back and up behind you, bend your knee and twist open. Option 1, stay in the twist. Option 2, stay in the twist, but take it into a flip over, lowering your right foot down, lifting your heart up, taking your head back, curling into that upper back again. Inhale, back around, one leg dog. Exhale, lunge your right foot to the top of your mat. Rise up to Warrior Two. On your exhale, side angle pose, any variation you like. And then inhale, lift up, Warrior Two. Exhale, reverse warrior. Hands can go where it feels right for you. Listen to what your body tells you. Inhale, back up to Warrior Two. We're going to transition between side angle and reverse warrior 2 more times, a little faster. So take a breath in here. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, Warrior Two. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, Warrior Two. One more time, side angle. Up to Warrior Two. Exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, up to Warrior Two. Use your exhale to find half moon pose. Reaching forward, finding your balance again. Your standing leg is giving you a lot of feedback. If it's moving a little bit, that's giving you feedback. If your ankle is shifting, that's all a lesson there, learning how to find the balance here. On an inhale, we're going to lift up to eagle pose. So still balancing on the right leg, bring your torso upright, cross the left leg over the right leg, and the left arm under the right arm. If you can, bring palms together. If not, press the backs of the hands into one another. On an exhale, get lower, knees and elbows pulling in. Let this be a little core strengthener for you, pulling the belly in and up, so it's a crunch here while you're standing in the balance. Inhale, lift up, Warrior Two. Slowly step back, find your Warrior Two, and then straighten your front leg, triangle pose. Reach forward, and then lower your right fingers to the floor, your prop, whatever you've got there. Roll your gaze up past your top hand. Lengthen through your left side. And then exhale, release. Hands down to the mat, coming into lunge. One leg dog, right leg lifts up. One leg vinyasa option. And we'll start the second side of the second series right here. Inhale, left leg high, bend your knee, twist open. Hold the twist, maybe working on your balance a little bit in the twist by getting lighter into the left hand or flipping over, Your core puts the brakes on that flip. The more engaged you are in your core, the slower you can go. Inhale, come back around to one leg dog. Stretch that left leg back behind you. Exhale, core lunges your foot up to the front of your mat. We'll come up to warrior two. What is your breath telling you right now? There's a lesson always in the breath. On your exhale, side angle pose, any variation that you like. Inhale, lift up to warrior two. Exhale, reverse warrior. Hands can go wherever it feels right for you. Inhale, back up to warrior two. Now we flow with the breath. Exhale, side angle pose. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior two. One more, side angle. Warrior two. Exhale, reverse. Inhale, warrior two. And now, half moon pose. Take a breath in. Use your exhale to come forward, to launch yourself into this spread eagle pose. Limbs going in every direction. Listen to the feedback of your standing foot. And then we will keep balancing by lifting into eagle pose. So push down into the left foot. Bring your torso upright. Cross your right thigh over the left thigh. And your right arm under the left arm. On an exhale, draw knees and elbows together. Hugging the belly in, squeezing the inner thighs. Engaging in the abdominal muscles. And then on an inhale, start to lift up and open out to warrior two. That back foot has a blind landing, but hopefully you've landed in warrior two enough that you know right where to go. Straighten the front leg, triangle pose. Top side body gets a nice stretch here, but see if you can find just a little bit of length, however you can, in the bottom side body as well. And now on your next exhale, come into lunge, hands on either side of the front foot. And from there, it's a one leg vinyasa, left leg lifts and flow through. Bring your feet to the top of your mat. Last chair pose of the practice. So start with your hips low. This is a forward bend, even with the knees bent. And then find the back bend in the upper back. Push into your feet, stand tall. Let's take the feet a little wider apart, so outer hip width distance apart. Bring your hands to your hips. We'll take a back bend, standing back bend here. We've already done one in the practice today, earlier. So thumbs around at the low back, or as we did on Tuesday, if you were here, maybe you can place your hands on your low back, fingertips pointing up, draw your shoulders back. Take your gaze up and back across your ceiling, or if you're outside, across the sky. And then inhale, back up, hands to your heart, feet hip width distance apart. Take a moment to tune into breath, body, mind, heart. Open your eyes, inhale, take your arms to the sky. Exhale, fold down to the earth. Inhale, lengthen out. I'll meet you in downward dog. I'm skipping the vinyasa this time around. I actually skip it a lot because I'm having a hard time trying to do the poses and talking to you at the same time. All right, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg back and up behind you. 3 times, we're going to bring the right knee to the outside of the right arm as we glide into plank. So come forward plank, knee to the outside of the arm. Inhale, stretch your leg back and up. 2, knee to the outside of the arm, pull in. Inhale, stretch back and up. On this third one, bring your knee in and then plant your foot on the outside of your hand. Spin your back heel down to the ground. I'm going to move my left hand out of the way just so you can see. With that right arm inside the right leg, see if you can take your hand behind your shin. So maybe your hand's down on your ankle. You may be able to get it up onto the back of the upper shin and push forward to see if that will help you lower in a little bit. That's all we're doing right here, a little hip opening. You might find it to be a mid-back stretch as well. Some of you will be able to work your head behind your shin. And then on an inhale, let's start to unwind. Lift your back heel up, put weight into your left hand, and then turn all your toes over to the right. Take your right arm straight back behind you. So you're on the outer edge of that right foot. 3 times, we're going to exhale, push the floor away with the right foot in the right hand, lift the right hip up, and arc the right arm over your ear. I realize now I got left and right wrong. So let's come back down here. Left hand, left foot, stay on the ground. Take a breath in, exhale, lift the outer left hip up, right arm arcs over your ear. Inhale, back down. 1 more, lift up, and then plant your hand at the front of your mat. Come onto the ball of your back foot, turn your right toes forward. 1 leg dog, take your right leg back and up, 1 leg flow. Okay, from downward dog, inhale, left leg back and up behind you. 3 times, knee will come to the outside of the left arm as you draw into plank. Exhale, come forward, knee on the outside of the arm. Inhale, stretch it back and up. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, reach back and up. Last one, keep hugging in and then plant your foot on the outside of your hand. Spin your back heel down to the mat. And then with that left arm on the inside of the left leg, grab behind your shin where you can, and then push the shin forward. It's going to give you a little extra room to reach underneath your leg. If your left hip is skewing out to the left, see if you can pull it into the middle a little bit. And then inhale, release, unwind, lift your back heel off the mat, and then we're going to keep weight into the right hand, outer edge of the right foot, turn the left toes to the left, and take your left arm back behind you. 3 times we arc up, so take a breath in. As you exhale, lift your hip up, bring your left arm over your ear, inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Last one, push the floor away, lift up, and then plant your hand at the front of your mat. Turn your toes to point forward, step back to downward dog. And then from downward dog, child's pose. Lower your knees down and wide, shift your hips back. Take a moment here, letting the lessons of the vinyasa sink in. Your body commits to muscle memory what you repeat. So we'll take a few moments here a little bit of quiet, except for me talking and maybe music if you're playing that, to let body and mind really connect everything that we just did. Because we're going to use it for our next pose. Come back to downward dog. Inhale, right leg back and up behind you. And then from here, lunge that right foot to the outside of your right hand. Take your right hand behind your right shin, push it forward, lower your shoulder down as much as you can, trying to get underneath your leg if you can. And then hands, we'll bring both hands down to the mat and walk them back a little bit. This is a variation of an arm balance that we do a lot called Ekapada Kundinasana 2. Here, instead of stretching the front leg straight, we're going to walk that right foot back until the top of your foot is on the floor. And then you bend your elbows and look forward. Pull up into your belly. You can push the top of that right foot on the floor and up until that left leg starts to lift off the mat. You have to bend your elbows like chaturanga to get there. Good job. I see you getting there, I see you doing it. And then unwind however you can. This is one of those poses where your body will tell you, if you cannot get the back leg up, you don't have enough weight coming forward. So to get that weight coming forward, you have to lean your chest forward and bend the elbows. We'll try it on the second side and see how that goes. So back to downward dog. Inhale, left leg back and up behind you. Exhale, lunge your left foot to the outside of your left hand. We'll keep the back heel lifted here. And then with that left arm on the inside of the left leg, push your left shin forward and lower your left shoulder down. Now plant both hands on the mat. So instead of having your hands right under your shoulders, see if you can slide them back, maybe just half an inch. And then from here, strong core, start to slide that left foot back so that the top of the foot is on the floor. And then once you get the top of the foot on the floor, you can push down into the top of the foot and then bend the elbows like you're in chaturanga and see if that will help you lift your back foot off the ground. Yeah. Good job. Good job. There's a lot happening right there. All right, let's come back into child's pose again. Knees wide, stretch the arms out in front. And then make fists. Bend your elbows as much as you need to give you clearance to roll your wrists around. One direction, and then the other. And then palms flat onto the mat. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it go through your mouth. And then come up to hands and knees. Knees hip-width distance apart. Tops of the feet on the floor. Walk your hands back until you're standing on your knees. We're going to work on some camel pose variations here. So you can have your thumbs around at your low back and your other fingers wrapping around your hips to help support your low back. Or maybe you can do what we tried before, which is fingertips pointing up. If this doesn't work for your wrists, go back to the thumbs around the back. Draw the shoulders back, elbows pointing back behind you as much as you can manage. Head in line with your spine, breath in, and then as you exhale, push the hands forward and down, or the thumbs forward and down. Lift your heart up. Squeeze the shoulder blades onto the back. And then to lift back up, bring your chest up, then your chin, then your forehead. And then release your hands down. All right, now let's tuck the toes under for the second variation of camel. It's gonna just lift the heels up a little bit for us. So hands onto the low back again, however it works for you. Belly in, roll the shoulders back, take a breath in, and as you exhale, bring the hips a little forward as you lift the chest up, and then go back, and then slide one hand down. If your heel is there for you, slide the other hand down. If you don't feel your heel right away, bring your hand back to your hip. And then to lift, come up through the chest, and then the chin, and then the forehead. All right. We're going to do a little quad tune-up, and then we're going to go for our last camel variation. So in the quad tune-up, let's put the tops of the feet on the floor again, hands onto the hips. I want you to try to keep a straight line from your knee, through your hip, all the way up through the shoulder and the top of your head. And we're just going to hinge back from the knee. So listen to your knee. Your knees may not like this. Take a breath in as you exhale. Hinge back just to the place where it feels right for you, and then come back up. We're just going to do that 2 more times. Maybe each time you go back a little bit more. Take a breath in, exhale, hinge back, inhale, come back up. So strong core, strong quads. Last one, hinge back, and then lift back up. All right, our last camel variation is called floating camel. I'll talk you through it. Or if you want to watch me do one, I'll give you a couple of options as I do it. So in floating camel, we're going to start out sitting on our heels. If you can do that, if you can't, I'll give you another option in a moment. Hands will come behind you. If you can get your fingertips right onto part of the sole of your foot, it's going to put you in a good position. If your hands won't quite go there, you can take your hands back a little bit more. Once your hands are there, wherever you're going to put them, draw the shoulders back, get your head in line with your spine, push the tops of your feet into the floor, push your hands into the tops of your feet, lift your hips up. And then to get the camel to float, you have to really squeeze into the quads a little bit more and push down into the feet, lifting the hips up here, and there is your floating camel. So if you don't do this, if this isn't working for your ankles and your knees, you can stay up here and then go back as you normally would into camel, maybe landing your hands down eventually onto your feet. So let's try it together. I'm going to talk through it again. So if you're going to stay upright, if your knees and ankles don't like that, you stay upright. If not, come to sit onto your heels. Knees and feet are about hip width distance apart. Place your palms, fingertips pointing forward, onto your feet if you can. If that doesn't work, you can place your hands onto the mat. Hug your belly in, hug the shoulder blades towards one another, head in line with the spine. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, lift your hips up. Next step from here is to squeeze more into the quads and to push more into the hands. Reach back through the crown of your head. See if you can get your knees to lift off your mat. And then once the knees lift, see if you can lift your hips up just a little bit more. Good. All right. Let's come down. And then from here, take your legs out in front of you. And you stretch the backs of the legs out a little bit. Get the legs straight. Arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Lengthening out the front body. Inhale, lift back up. Bend your left knee out to the side, sole of your foot along your right inner leg. Right hand behind, left arm up. And then exhale. It's a teeny bit of a twist to the right, and then a lot of a forward bend. And you bring that left hand out and grab on where you can. It can be on your leg, your ankle, maybe your foot, inside or outside of the foot. There's not a right, in my book, a right or wrong way to do this pose, right or wrong placement for the hands. You can have both hands wrapping around your feet. It's more about using your hands to maneuver your body in a position where you get what you need from the pose. So this pose offers a back of the right leg stretch, left outer hip stretch, left mid back stretch. Inhale, lift back up. Bring your left knee up and then straighten it out. And we'll take the second side, right knee out to the side, sole of the right foot along the left inner leg, left hand behind, right arm up. Sit as tall as you can here. Twist just a little bit to the left, and then on an exhale, fold out over your leg. And then listen to your breath, your body, mind and heart. And then you can adjust in the pose once you've listened to the lessons of all those teachers. And then inhale, lift up. Bring your right knee up and then stretch that right leg out. Shake out both knees a little bit because we're going to go back to a bent knee position. We'll come into a cross leg position here. So we'll put the right shin on top. And if you're really feeling like your hips are open and you want to come into fire log pose with the right shin on top of the right left shin, you can. Or maybe even half lotus. Any cross leg pose works here, where you can sit up tall. Take your hands around behind your back and interlace your fingers. So you make one fist behind your back. We're going to take that fist around to the right side behind your back. See if you can lower that left shoulder down a little bit and then bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. So we're just trying to create space here along the left side. And then bring your head up to neutral. Bring your hands behind your back, unlace and change the cross of your legs. So we'll put the left shin in front if it's a regular Sukhasana pose, or left shin on top if it's fire log, or left foot into the right hip crease if it's half lotus, or you can take full lotus. Sit tall, take your hands behind your back, interlace, and then draw that one fist around to the left side. Try to dip the top of your right shoulder down a little bit, and then take your left ear towards your left shoulder. Inhale, bring your head back upright, hands behind you, unlace, and then we'll take a wide leg stance here. So open those legs out wide. One more forward bend here from a seat, hands out in front for a little bit of support. If you want the legs to be active here, instead of letting them totally relax, you want some activity happening. So that's quadricep muscles working, that's toes pointing up at the ceiling, and then start to walk your hands forward and bow forward. Again, this is a lot of listening to your body. It's telling you how far it wants to go. The reason we want to keep muscle tone in the legs as we take the forward bend is so that we don't overstretch. And I know some of you are thinking, yeah, no way in hell am I going to overstretch here. But for some of you who are very loose in your muscles and in your joints, it's very easy to overstretch. And sometimes the overstretching happens more in tendons and ligaments than it does in muscles. So it's better to err on the side of using that muscle energy to hold everything safely as you stretch. Walk your hands back in, bringing your torso upright. Grab your inner knees, bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet together. One last hip opener here. Grab on just to your shins, at the bottom of the shin. Lift your chest up, and as you exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift back up, hands on the outer knees, bring the knees together, and then roll down to your back. Draw your knees into your chest and rock across your back a few times. We'll take a quick twist to each side. Keep the knees in, take your arms out to a T. And then on an exhale, take your knees to the right. Both knees over to the right. Turn that left palm up to the ceiling and look back past your left hand. See if you can get that left cheek, facial cheek, a little closer to the ground. Inhale, bring your head to neutral, bring your legs up. Exhale, take your knees over to the left. Take your gaze to the right. Trying to get that right ear or right cheek a little closer to the ground. Bring your head to neutral. Inhale, bring your knees up. Hug your knees in again. Rock across your back. If you need an inversion, now's the time to hit your shoulder stand. And if you feel good, it's time to stretch out into Shavasana. Of course, if there are other finishing poses that you like, you're welcome to take those. I'm going to talk to you about moving into your corpse pose. It's worth taking a few extra breaths, a few extra moments to find the corpse pose that's going to give you the greatest benefit. So for most of us, that is with the palms turned up and the pinky fingers at least 8 inches away from your hips. It looks like you all have plenty of room here where you can take the hands even wider if you like. Push down into the arms. Lift your shoulder blades off the mat just a little bit so you can squeeze them in underneath you and then lower back down to the floor. Take the legs a little wider and let the knees and the feet splay out to the sides. If you have any sensation in your low back, I'm not even talking pain, I'm talking some pulling sensation in your low back, you're much better off bending your knees and putting the soles of your feet on your mat, or putting something underneath your knees to lift them up. That could be a bolster, a beach towel, whatever you might have handy. Take a big inhale through your nose and let it seep out through your mouth as you settle into corpse pose. And this is where the lessons of the practice really come home to roost. In a moment, when I stop talking, things will be quiet. You will be in stillness. And at this time, breath, body, mind, heart really connect and commit to the teachings of the practice. Take a few more breaths here in stillness to listen to your body and your mind and your heart. And then begin to reawaken your body. Gently wave your fingers and wave your toes. Roll your wrists and roll your ankles. Reach your arms above your head. Reach the fingers in one direction, the toes in the other. And then on an exhale, bend your knees, roll to your side. Take a moment here to honor what you found, what you heard, what you learned in your practice, and to honor the perhaps unconventional sources of wisdom. And then bring yourself to a seat. Bring your hands to your heart, close your eyes. We've returned where we began. hopefully wiser after having listened and learned from what our teachers, breath, body, mind, and heart had to tell us. I hope you can go through your day continuing to learn, continuing to be open to all the ways that we can learn. We'll take a couple of breaths now to collect our energy together and send it to those in need. May you have a peaceful day. Namaste. We did it. It's another Thursday morning yoga practice in the books. Thanks for coming.